Hey, I'm back in the kitchen. FTS, episode 6, Shondo's Tacos. You see, I got a lot going on right now. I got water boiling. I got 4 soft taco shells. I got 4 standing stuffed taco shells, 2 regular, 2 nacho cheese from Old El Paso. I got my olive oil. I got that OB, that Old Bay, baby. I got my Texas Pete hot sauce. I got that Good and Gather organic honey barbecue sauce. I have aroma tomato. I got 3 chopped cubes of pineapple. I have my green onions. I've got half a slice of orange. I've got 1 cob of corn. I have an avocado. I got my black beans. I have my Greek olives. I got 1 leaf of romaine lettuce, 2 leaves of bok choy, a 4-ounce salmon fillet, pre-seasoned crab meat, shredded cheddar cheese, and I got a whole teaspoon of taco seasoning. And to my left, I got that Foreman grill out. So we're getting ready to go in. Shondo's Tacos. Let's go. Let me go ahead and get this corn going. In order to do this, I'm gonna just put a dab of olive oil on my glove. Then I'm going to wipe the olive oil on my glove like this, and I got it on both gloves. So I'm just gonna gently go over my corn cob with that olive oil, just to kind of wipe it in, get everything smooth. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in my water here. And you know, I already had it on for probably about 5 minutes, so it's kind of like a slight boil that we have going. And it's gonna make our corn tender. We're gonna leave it in there probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 to 5 minutes. Just let that marinate. Then we're gonna get these black beans going. And pour the black beans in. I got my glass of water here. I'm gonna turn my eye on. I'm gonna put it on 6. I'm gonna pull that up, because the goal is really to just get the black beans to the point where they're tender. And once that eye gets hot and it starts boiling, those black beans are gonna be fine. So now we're gonna get on top of these meats. And I'm gonna go over here to the Foreman grill and throw those on. As you can see, I got my Foreman grill on. I've got it turned up halfway, which is this spot in the middle. I'll go ahead and open it. First thing we're gonna do is put some olive oil on the grill. Just get that on there. It heats up pretty fast, so we'll take this paper and just evenly distribute that oil on the grill. That's the best way to make it non-stick. These are non-stick grill plates, by the way, but it's better. It's good to put that oil on there because you're gonna kind of need it to cook that meat and for things not to really stick and get, overcooked. So I'm wiping my olive oil into both grill plates. I got that done. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and take my salmon, put a little Old Bay on it. You know, I call it OB. That's the southern short name for it. You know I love this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on that crab meat too. get that going. Go ahead and rub it in on this side of the salmon fillet. And go ahead and turn it over. Get a little bit more on this side. As you can see, rub that in. And try to get it on the sides too. Old Bay always gives seafood a nice flavor. It's just a good complementing flavor that you get. So we'll put that salmon on. Set it like right here. You can already hear the sizzle. Now with this crab meat, it doesn't really take long for it to cook. The goal with this is you really just want to kind of put it on over here separate from the salmon so you don't get the mixture of that flavor together. You just want to kind of sit it over here to the side and let it simmer. Now you notice how I just put the Old Bay on the top side of the crab meat, but the reason I did that is because I'm just going to go ahead and kind of rearrange it with my hands anyway. So it's going to get that full flavor in there, and I'm about to put some more on anyway. That's just how I do. I love Old Bay. Put a little bit more on here. Get a little bit more on that salmon too. Rub that a little bit more. Rub that crab meat just a little bit more. Now what I'm going to do is close my grill. I'm going to slide this up higher because the way I'm going to close my grill is going to effectively cook the salmon and the crab meat to the point that I like it. So I'm going to close my grill, and anybody that has one of these style Foreman grills, if you know anything about it, you can pull that back piece up and kind of lock it in place to where it's the front half of the grill is more pressed down, and then that bottom half, top half of the grill is like upwards. So it's not really pressing the meat because I got it sitting kind of in the upper middle part, so it's not really pressing it hard. So that way you're gonna get a pretty good cook. And I'm gonna have to flip that salmon. I'm gonna flip it just so it'll be good, just because of the way I'm cooking it. So I'm gonna come back to that in just a moment. Now as you can see, my corn is still boiling. My black beans are still simmering. I'm gonna actually turn the temperature down on my black beans. It's been about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes or so. So I'll go ahead and turn that temperature down to 3 on my black beans. I still got my corn sitting at like 4. That's a pretty good temperature because it's just simmering, just rolling it around a little bit just to make sure it gets a little more tender. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in these black beans. Just a little bit, not too much, because you know that water's in there too. But as the water continues to boil, you'll notice that the oil is gonna get into those beans. I got my spoon here. And those beans are beginning to get a little tender, but I want them to get really tender. So I'm gonna let them cook for a little bit. They're kind of just on a simmer if you really think about it. So I'll just let those stay on the stove for the duration of me getting everything prepared, and then by the time I'm ready to top my tacos, these beans will definitely be ready. Now I'm back at the grill. I'm gonna go ahead and open the top, see what we're looking like. As you can see, that crab meat is cooking pretty nicely. It's getting to a pretty good point of where I want it to. I don't want it to be too cooked. My salmon is cooking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. I can just flip it with my hands. So you see how it's cooking? It's cooking pretty good. I mean, the Foreman grill always gives you a pretty even cook. It gives you a pretty clean cook too. It's not messy at all. The oils drip down into the drip pan, so it doesn't really stay on your meat like that, so it gives you a healthier result. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my cutting board off. Got my cutting board clean. And you notice I didn't close the grill again, because what I'm really trying to do is just gauge the tenderness of the salmon. And it's pretty tender. And it's really tender. It comes apart a little bit when I touch on it a little bit, so it's cooking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and take my crab meat off though. Because it's basically ready to go. I'll take that off, sit it right here on my board. My salmon isn't quite ready yet. I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes. I'm gonna close and I'll do the same thing. Just lift the back end up and let it drop down so it's not really pressing on the salmon hard. And I'll be back in a moment for that. All right, I'm back. Let's go ahead and open it up. Still kind of tender there. I'm gonna go ahead and slide it down just a little bit, and I'm gonna close the grill without propping it up this time. Because what I really wanna do is get it cooked to the point where it's kind of like that in-between cook where it's not too tender, but it's not too grilled. I'm trying to get that fine balance in between so that meat will be cooked, but it'll still have a tenderness to it when we put it on the tacos. And it doesn't take long at all. If you set this Foreman grill on medium, that's pretty much your best bet, you know, because it cooks really evenly. You just got to make sure you're monitoring the grill. You don't want to walk off from it too long. You just want to monitor what you're doing. Let's open it back up. Yeah, that salmon is ready. It's ready to go. It's pretty hot too. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it off with my spatula. It's a little tender, so it's probably gonna fall apart a little bit. That's no problem. We'll just put it right back here on the cutting board. Close the grill, unplug it. And we got our meats ready. I'm gonna let these sit here for right now. We're gonna go over and start getting our other items ready. All right, so we're back at it with the corn. Our corn is basically ready. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off that aisle, and I'll still turn it around a little bit and just let it sit in that water. It's basically about ready to go. But that water is gonna stay hot for a little while anyway, so it's just gonna make it more and more tender. Now let's check these black beans. We're gonna stir a little bit. See, I still got it set on 3. That's a pretty good setting for it because it's just really like simmering. So it's not gonna overcook as long as you monitor it pretty close. And the way you can check and see if these beans are really starting to get tender enough is you can basically just take a spoonful of them. I'm just gonna take one bean out, and you can kind of press on it. You can kind of tell where they're at. They still need to really simmer for a little bit more. I'm gonna say they probably need to simmer probably all the way up until the time that I get everything prepared and start topping my tacos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually drop the temperature down to 2 at this point, and I'll just let that simmer. Still checking on my beans. I'm about to go ahead and turn the aisle off. I mean, they're pretty tender now. So I'll turn that off. Now we're gonna start on our vegetables and fruits. Let me move my lettuces over here on the side, my cheese, my seasoning, my olives. We're gonna turn our cutting board so we can get working. So first thing I'm gonna cut here is my pineapples. And I'll just kind of slice kind of thinly like this. And I knew I wouldn't need a lot of pineapple, so that's why I basically just cut 3 square pieces of a pineapple core. Now I'm just kind of slicing them kind of thin, just to make sure when I put them on the taco, it's going to be convenient. Now what I'm going to do too is I'm going to like re-slice these so I can get them into smaller pieces. You know, if you use pineapple, it's your preference on how you really want to put it on. I suggest you slice it thin, because when you start chewing into your taco, it's going to definitely blend in better. You won't have such of a large chunk every time you bite. I like that. That's going to work pretty well for me. Now, of course, a pineapple is a citrus fruit, and so is an orange. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my orange next. And again, I've got a half of a slice of orange here, and I'm going to go ahead and half this. And I'm going to also half these pieces too. And then what we're going to do is take the skin off the orange. Take the skin off the peels. It's not really that hard to do it, but you do have to be gentle with it. And sometimes it's better to take that knife and do it too. That kind of helps you when you're doing it. I'm going to use the knife on this one. So you can just kind of knife right there between the actual peel and the meat of the orange. You just want to be careful with that. You don't want to move your knife too fast. You can easily get that meat of the orange off when you do that. Just be careful with that knife. I think I can peel this one. And yeah, I can peel this one too. Okay, so now that I've got those peeled off, I can chop my orange slices into small sections. And that's really the goal, is get them chopped into small pieces, so when you add them to the taco, you get the flavor balance you want. Let me chop these. And I love citrus fruits. The smell of citrus fruits and then the taste of citrus fruits in combination with other fruits and vegetables is always good. You know, I'm big on citrus. I love it. Yeah, these oranges smell great. especially with you get that after smell of those pineapples too. And they're sitting right beside the oranges, so it's a mixture of tropical aroma right here. Now I'm gonna wipe my knife and rinse my knife off. I'll go over here and do that really quick. Now I'm back at it. The next thing we're gonna go with is the tomato. Now this is a Roma tomato. So what I'm gonna do with it is I'm gonna basically cut it in half. And then I'm gonna take these half pieces. Let me move my onions over a little bit. And I'm gonna just gently carve like small diagonal slices of this tomato so I can get it the right size. I gotta get each piece the convenient size so that when we put them on the taco, it's very chewable. And tomatoes are easy to cut. You just got to decide which way you want to cut it. That's the only thing. But when you're using them on tacos, it's better to just get small, strips of tomato, not chunk pieces. And if you like chunk pieces, I would suggest small chunk pieces, like small cube pieces. Like I can cut some of those too while I'm at it. And those will work as well. Because I'm over here making my own custom made tacos, Shondo's tacos. You know what I mean? The FTS original idea. Go ahead and chop this half. Just get these small angle slices. I'll get some cube slices in there too. And I always say it's better to have more than you're gonna need than to have less than you're gonna need. And I mean, I've got a pretty good bit of tomato here. Those Roma tomatoes, even though they look small, when you're using them on tacos, you don't really need, it depends on how many tacos you're gonna make. I'm making 4, but I think I'm gonna have more than enough tomatoes to do this. I got more than enough tomato pieces, so I'm good. So I got my tomato chopped like I wanted. Now I'm gonna go back over here and rinse my knife off again. Now we're gonna chop our avocado. Now avocados are not the easiest thing to cut. I'll be honest with you, they're kind of hard on the outside. You really have to be effective with them because there's a seed in the middle. You really need to do like a third type of cut, like an angle cut. That's gonna be your best option. Now you can chop through the seed depending on how hard that knife is, or depending on how sharp your knife is. You might be able to get through it, but you're gonna be better off cutting at an angle on these. Just because that seed is so big, you can see it. I'm kind of cutting through it, but I got a really sharp knife. So I'm just gonna angle through it. And I'll take this piece and I'm gonna see if I can just cut it like this. Yeah, it'll cut through. Now the next thing I gotta do is get that seed out. So I'm gonna take the sections of the seed out of each one of these cuts that I made. So I've got my avocado. Now the key with the avocado is, you see how that skin is peeling off? It's better for you to peel that skin off of there, trust me. Because it's not easy to chew that. And you can easily peel it off. See how it's coming off real easy? Avocados are very nutritious. I mean, they've been known to help regulate blood pressure. They give you good vitamin content, boost your immune system, help your metabolism, all of that stuff. I mean, of course, the most popular form of avocado is guacamole. If you're into Mexican food, you should know all about guacamole. You really should. Now the key to chopping the avocado the way that I want to chop it to get it on this taco, and to get it on these tacos that I'm making, is what I want to do is kind of chop it in a way where we're getting like a sectional chop that's kind of like almost similar to what I did with the tomato. But you just want to get it like a sectional little chop, just angle your knife off and get you like a small cut that's angular. That's going to work out really well for you when you start topping the tacos. It's definitely going to work out well for me with these Shondo's tacos. I got a lot of avocado I can work with. Let's separate that a little bit. Okay. Got away from me a little bit there. And easy to cut. I mean, and they're gonna complement my tacos really well. So I'm getting just little sectional small cuts out of that. And one small avocado is definitely enough for probably somewhere between 4 to 6 tacos. In terms of topping them. So you shouldn't have any problems with that. So still chopping these up real quick. Let me get all of that going before I get to my onions. That avocado is good, man. It's really nutritious. And really, it's up to you. If you want to season your avocado slices, you can. I'm gonna work with that taco seasoning. I'm not gonna put any salt or anything like that on it, because the taco seasoning, along with the Old Bay that I put on the meats, that's definitely gonna suffice with all of these toppings. Trust me when I tell you that. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe my knife off again, rinse it off. And we're ready to go ahead and cut these green onions. I love these type of onions because they're perfect for tacos. Absolutely perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of slice them evenly. Like, it's very easy to chop them because that's what you want. You want them in those small little sections, just like that. It's perfect. And as you chop into them, you get that onion smell. Now, these onions are not as strong as red onions. They're not as strong as white onions or even those sweet Vandalia onions. They're kind of mild, but they have the perfect type of onion aroma and flavor for a taco. The rest of the onions are kind of strong for tacos, in my opinion. These green onions are great. And of course, when you get down to the stem, you can use that part too. It's a little bit tougher than the darker green area. So I'll just set that bottom part of the stem aside. And of course, let me gather all my onion, because I'm definitely going to use all of that, no doubt. Now we're going to rinse off the knife again. I'm going to work with my lettuces. Now, the thing about this romaine lettuce is that it's very easy to just pull pieces off and add it to the taco. And that's essentially what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it, but you can actually pull pieces off. You don't necessarily have to cut it with a knife. You probably get a finer cut if you cut it with a knife. It's like what I'm doing. So that romaine, it kind of breaks up pretty good. You cut it in small pieces. Then we got the bok choy. Bok choy can be cut, but it can be pulled off with your fingers too. If you want to just pull it off with your hands and fingers, you can. I'm gonna chop it because I want some fine cuts to put on my tacos. So I'm gonna like take the leaf, kind of fold it a little bit in, and I'll just chop at an angle. And once you start getting down to the stem, you can basically stop. Get a little bit more of that green off of there that I can use. Leafy green sections. And I got another leaf of bok choy. I'm gonna do the same thing. Just kind of fold it back in and fold that top part on top. And then I can get some good cuts here with that. Just an angular chop. Got a lot of nutrition on my board right now. A whole lot of nutrition. And you know, that's my goal. My goal is to eat healthy and eat flavorful. I mean, that's really the goal, you know, because really you're getting the best of both worlds. You're eating healthy. You got a lot of flavor going on. Can't beat that, right? Can't beat it. You know what I'm saying? So we got everything chopped and ready to go. Now, before I start topping, of course, I gotta get my cob of corn and work with that. And it's basically ready. I'm gonna reach over here in the pot and get it and bring it over here. So I'm not going anywhere, but you've been getting ready to see me reach for this corn. I'm gonna bring it over with the left hand. So taking it out of the pot. Let me push my cutting board up a little bit. So I got my corn right here, right? So this is really kind of tricky, but it's not really hard to do. You just got to take your knife and just kind of run it over those little corn stubbles and corn kernels and get that off of there, and see how it's just going straight into my bowl. It's really easy to do it. I mean, it's not really a problem. That corn's really tender because it's been sitting there, you know, in that hot water. Even after I turned off the stove, even after I turned that aisle off, it's just been sitting there in that warm water, and it's gotten more and more tender. So that's gonna work really well, and it's helping me to get this off of here without any real problems. And you just gotta angle your knife. You know, you don't want to dig too deep because you'll start getting like the stem, the harder stem part of the corn, and not really the corn kernels. Now I'm gonna flip it over so I can get the rest of it on this end that I'm working with. Cut that corn, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, corn goes great on a lot of different things. And it really goes great on tacos. I mean, it's a great complementary flavor that we're gonna get here with these corn kernels. So we got that. Let me just make sure I get everything I need off of there. Let's keep running the knife over there a little bit. Okay, so I got my corn ready to go. You can see my black beans sitting over here, right? They've gotten really tender as we've been working with everything. So I got everything ready, baby. Getting ready to top them. Now I'll bring my salmon and crab meat over so we can top. Now let's top these tacos. Now I'm ready to top my tacos. So let's go. We're gonna take the soft shell, right? And the first thing we're gonna put in the soft shell is shredded cheddar. That's number one. Then I'm gonna take my soft shell and put it in the standing stuff hard shell taco. See that? Got that in there and got it ready to go. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is put meat in your taco. So I'm gonna slice my meat as I get ready to put it in. That's gonna be my best option. And I just want bits and pieces. And of course, I'm gonna put salmon in this first taco because this is Shondo's tacos. You already know that, right? So we're gonna cut. I got my crab meat and my salmon ready to go. And you can cut it how you want to. You're gonna see how I do this as I go. We got our meat ready. So this first taco I'm gonna make, I'm just gonna put salmon on it. No crab meat on this one. I'm gonna put a pretty good amount in there. See, the good thing about that is that meat is still warm. It's gonna help melt that cheese. Now, I'm gonna start throwing some toppings on here. We're gonna work with some tomatoes. I'm gonna put my bok choy lettuce. And you can press it down just a little bit as you put everything on. I'm gonna put some avocado. I'm gonna put some orange. I'm gonna put just a little romaine on. I'm gonna put my green onions. I'm telling you, those green onions is what's gonna set that flavor off. You know that already. Now this is the other thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my taco seasoning and just drop a little bit on the top here. It's up to your discretion how you want to do it, but this is the first taco, so this is how I'm making this one. And then I'm gonna top it off with a couple more tomatoes. That's what I'm gonna do. Because what that's gonna do, those tomatoes have moisture. So when you put those on top of the taco seasoning, it's gonna make that seasoning absorb into those tomatoes and give you a pretty good flavor. That's the first Shondo's taco. Yeah, you see that one, right? So we're gonna go ahead and sit this one right here where you can see it. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work with one of these nacho cheese shell tacos. And again, I got my soft shell. I'm gonna start it off with some shredded cheese. I'm gonna drop that in. We'll put a little bit more cheese on there. This one I'm gonna put crab meat on it. You got your crab meat, just a little bit. Well, no, forget it. A lot. We're gonna go with a lot. Now this time I'm gonna put my taco seasoning on top of that crab meat. That's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna just tap my spoon a little bit. Just get a little bit in there. And that's a pretty good spread for now. So one thing I do know is that taco seasoning is gonna really interact with that crab meat really well. Now next, we're gonna go with some olives on this one. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put some romaine lettuce on there. I'm gonna put some corn on this one. That corn's gonna bring it out a little bit. How about some black beans though? Use my spoon for this. Stir them up just a little bit. They're really tender now, so that's gonna work out well. Put those black beans on top of that corn. Woo-woo! You already know what that is, right? And them black beans on that corn, man, that's something else. Then I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little pineapple on top of this one. Just a touch. I'm gonna put a couple tomatoes on top of that thing. And you know I gotta throw a little avocado on there too. Just a little bit. And I'm gonna put an onion on there. But see, I ain't gonna go as hard on the onion this time. I'm just gonna go light on it. Just a little light. And then we're gonna top that thing off with a squeeze of orange. You see how I'm squeezing? Just get a little juice on there. And then I'm gonna put the oranges on. Just a little bit, you know. Squeeze, little juice, orange on. That's that nacho Shondo taco. The first one, because I got these other two waiting, just waiting to do something with. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit these two to the side, put these two on the board. That's how we're gonna do it. So I got my soft shell here. We're gonna work with that again. We're gonna start with the cheese. You're always gonna start with cheese, because see, the reason why you want to put that cheese on the bottom is that's gonna give you the thickness of it at the bottom. When you bite into it, it's gonna be amazing. So we got the cheese ready. We're gonna drop that down in there like that. So Shondo's tacos now. We working. I'm gonna put a little, I'm gonna mix this one. I'm gonna put a little crab meat on. I'm gonna put some salmon on there too at the same time. We're gonna do it all on this one. Then I'm gonna hit them with I'm gonna hit them with some olives though. I gotta do that first. It's just a little something right there. Just a little decoration on top of that salmon and crab meat, and then I'm gonna hit them with a little taco sauce. That's all right, we're gonna get that in a minute. That nacho cheese, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get on that one in a minute. Let me hit that taco sauce on this one real quick, the little taco seasoning. We gotta do that. That's what we're doing. Make sure that stands up. Then I'm gonna go with a little bit of romaine. Just a touch of romaine. I'm gonna go with a touch of bok choy. I'm gonna hit them with a little corn. Then I'm gonna hit that thing with some tomatoes, onion. I was gonna do the avocado anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on there too. Avocado. Pineapple. A dash of orange. And I'm gonna put a little taco seasoning on the top of this one too. Well, I blanked on that one, didn't I? But you know what else? I gotta stick with my theory. Put just a little more tomato on top of that thing to absorb that taco seasoning. Yeah. And you know what else? See, I ain't really finished. You thinking I'm finished with this thing. You thinking I'm finishing up with all of this, but I really ain't finished yet. But just let me work though. Let me get another soft shell here. And we're gonna drop that in there, in that cheddar, in that nacho cheese taco, the second one. Now you see how I put that in there first before I put the cheese in there, because I'm gonna show you something. We're gonna go meat, salmon. We're gonna go cheese. We're gonna go Texas Pete. Oh yeah. Kind of heavy with that. Kind of heavy with it. Then I'm gonna put a little bit more crab meat in that thing too, on top of that Texas Pete. Then we're gonna go with some black beans. Gotta get my black bean on this one. I'm gonna go with a lot of black bean on this one too, matter of fact. The next thing I'm gonna do is drop some of that honey barbecue sauce on it. Y'all don't know nothing about that, do you? I didn't think you did, but that's all right. Going thick on that. Then you know what I'm gonna do next? I'm gonna put some more salmon on that thing, because that's gonna absorb. It's gonna absorb that barbecue sauce a little bit. Then I'm gonna put some onion on there, because that's gonna bring out more of that flavor. Then we're gonna put a few olives on top. And I'm gonna couple that with a little bit of tomato. and a little avocado while I'm at it. But I'm gonna put that on the side a little bit. Just a little bit of that, not too much. And then top it with a little bok choy too. And you know what? Orange. A little orange strip on there a little bit, just to decorate and give you that citrus. Then I'm gonna hit them with a little taco seasoning. Oh yeah. Get that on there for real this time. Might as well. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is hit a little corn on that thing, on the top. And to absorb that taco seasoning, just a little bit more tomato right there on the edges of where that seasoning is at. Because like I said, that moisture of that tomato is gonna absorb into that taco seasoning. It's gonna give you a heck of a flavor. But see, I ain't really through with this yet. Like I said, I ain't all the way finished now. I keep telling you now, let's move that out the way. Let me get this right here sit like I want it. And now for that touch up. I gotta touch all of them up with a little hot sauce. You already know that. Just let it drip on there a little bit and let it drip down in there. Just a little. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna give it a little bit of kick on there. It's just gonna drip down in. Just a little drizzle. I ain't gonna make it rain on it. I'm just gonna make it drizzle on there. You know what I mean? That's what we want. Make that thing drizzle a little bit. And the other thing is that barbecue sauce. I ain't gonna go too hard on the top of it because I got barbecue sauce on one, but I made it a point to wait and put it on the others. I just wanted to show you something. You see how that's drizzling? You see that drizzle on that thing? I know you see it. Give me a second. Let me just pull them on over just a little more so you can see it for real though. I'm gonna drizzle it. Drizzle that honey barbecue. That's what we're doing. You just want to drizzle it. See that right there? I did that on purpose. Heavy drizzle, you know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna go light again. Heavy to light. Shondo's tacos. I know you love that. You got to. Hey, the originator and the creator, FTS, right here. Live, you know what I mean? Creating original material, original food. I'm just coming up with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, maybe it's the necklace. Maybe it's the skills, you know, but we got it right here. Shondo's Tacos, episode 6. Appreciate y'all. You already know what's getting ready to happen next, so just get ready. Yeah, that's what it is right now. Shondo's Tacos. You know what I'm getting ready to do? Check that out. Look at that, look at that. Look at that palette. You see that? Up, you want a close-up? Close-up shot, right there. Boom. I mean, it don't get no better than that. Let me try one of these. It don't even matter which one. Let me try this one. Get ready. Right. Everything on it, I can taste it immediately. Immediately. It's fun those tacos, man. I'm telling you. I don't even care if I got nothing on the side of my mouth. It don't matter. Because everything over here is undeniable. Like a sandwich, man. Right. Listen. Shondo's Tacos. Episode 6. Let's dance. And back to the taco.